independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The government shutdown continues longer than any in history. I'm told this is a crisis.
Government shutdown crisis.
Another Trump-generated crisis.
This crisis. It's causing chaos, confusion, pain. It's just too much, say the Washington Post and New York Times. But wait a second. Looking around America, most everything seems pretty normal.
How's everything today?
Life goes on.
Yeah, life goes on. Day 27. If you directly work for the government and or affected by this, it sucks. It does. It absolutely does. 350 plus million people, 822,000 either working without getting paid but accruing hours, or contractors and or workers who aren't working at all. They've been furloughed. Does it affect you, really? I mean, I watch TV in the background when Gunsmoke and Golf's not on, and I'll see, the all these news organizations freak out about this, right? CNN covers the plight of the federal worker having to go to, say, a food bank and get food, and I'm like, yeah, that totally sucks. But what about the other 300 people that you walked around with your camera who are also getting food that were there first? Well, I don't care about them because there's no political slant to it. We got to find political slants to it. That's what it's all about. It's the politics of this.
Columnist Paul Krugman giggles about it being Trump's big libertarian experiment. But it's not libertarian. Government's endless rules are still in effect, and soon workers will be paid for not working. This is the most unlibertarian experiment.
Yeah, absolutely, John Stossel. I agree. Absolutely. Stuff's still going on. You've got to still follow the rules. I still have to follow the rules. You had to show up at work today. I have to show up at work today. It's going to come to an end. I don't know when. It's our poll question. Is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? Is it 90 days? Is it 120 days? When do you think it's going to come to an end? My over-under is 43. I'm kind of looking right around 43, 42 and a half. But look around. Life still goes on. The economy is starting to feel it a little bit. We lose about $1.2 billion a week of money that's not being put back into the economy. And I said it's when commerce and this collide that there will be more pressure. When it starts to affect you and me, then it'll start to feel like there's some heat inside those kitchens. But right now, how much are you paying attention to this? If you didn't hear it on the radio, are you reading it on the internet? You're looking at, No, you're not really. And you know what I get? At least 4 or 5 tweets or texts today that says, government's working just fine. Non-essentials. Why do we have non-essentials that essentially we have to pay and keep around? It's a fair question. It is. Government's bloated, and it's not going to get any smaller. But how much are you paying attention to this? Probably not a lot. But if it hurts Trump, people pay attention to it on the left. What can we do? I read a study that 90% of the coverage on Trump is negative. Some of that stuff is self-inflicted. Absolutely. Some of that stuff is sensationalism. Yes. But 90%? That's kind of insane. How much are you paying attention, though? Like, that's a fair question. How much are you sitting there going, oh, yeah. Not a lot. Not a lot. It's the politics around it. But the actual effect, very, very few people pay any kind of attention to that unless they're directly involved. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter You could tweet at me. So you got Giuliani trying to walk back something he said, but didn't clarify it because it was misunderstood about, well, Trump didn't include, I can't talk about the campaign, or maybe the campaign did, some of the people inside of there, but Trump didn't do it, and And then you got to break down what the hell collusion is. It's even a crime. And you got all of this stuff going on. And then, of course, you got Michael Cohen, who is he's just the worst, isn't he?
Michael Cohen said on Twitter he acted at the direction of and for the sole benefit of President Trump after the Wall Street Journal reported he hired a small technology firm to rig online polls ahead of the presidential campaign. The firm's owner claimed Cohen stiffed him on most of the bill. Federal prosecutors have said Cohen sought reimbursement from the Trump Organization for $50,000 worth of technology services, but the nature of those services had not been disclosed. The same article said Cohen also asked the firm to create a Twitter account for him to promote Cohen as a sex symbol.
He really is the worst person. He is. He is just the worst. Now, Democrats, hang your hat on that. Think about that for a second. You're hanging your hat. That's the first question I would ask is like, did you really? I just want to get this out of the way. It's the first question I always ask. Is, if he's sitting there on the February 7th, because apparently he's a little nervous about this being in the public because everybody already thinks he's a buffoon. Right? But the first question I would ask, even if I was a Democrat, is, did you really want to promote yourself as a sex symbol? Like you thought, hey, it'd be a great idea if I got these guys to build a Twitter, big giant account, and we'll tweet about how sexy I am and what a mad dog, bulldog, pit bull, I ooze sexiness. Oh my God. That right there should disqualify anything he has to say. That alone. Well, he tried to influence polls. What does that mean? Online polls? Like the one where you go to like CNN or Drudge and you click? Is that the poll? Like ESPN? Like who do you think's the greatest baseball player of all time or basketball player? What kind of poll? Well, it's about Trump. We can influence for Trump. I talk to pollsters all the time. You can influence anything you want. Just ask, hey, I want to do a poll. How do you want it worded? Well, there you go. It could be influenced. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to try to cram it all down. Man, we got so much stuff. I was just laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard over that. I got to get a poll. We got to get Twitter accounts. We do. I think I'll set up a Twitter account. I'll set up a Twitter account, and then we'll see if we can get people that find me sexy at all. Cardi B, if you're going to turn to politics and you're saying self, I need somebody who gets it. I need somebody who understands it. I need somebody who has the real understanding of this world in politics and can really bring it to us in a way that's not been broaded. It is definitely somebody like Cardi B. Now, she ranted before about where all her money went because they tax her. Where did it all go? Where did it all go? Where did it all go? I get that, right? Like, because we're curious about where it all went too. But she is now upset about the shutdown. And she wants the world to know how she feels about said shutdown. And you ask yourself, how much do people pay attention to stuff like this? I will tell you this. She probably reaches far more people in a single day with something like this than all of these people mine Ocasio-Cortez tweet. And they're trying to decide if she should be, if they should tweet this stuff or not, right? Should we tweet it? Should we not tweet it? Here's a little bit of Cardi.
Hey, y'all, I just want to remind y'all because it's been a little bit over 3 weeks, okay? It's been a little bit over 3 weeks. Trump is now ordering, as in summoning, federal government workers to go back to work without getting paid. Now, I don't want to hear y'all talking about, but Obama shut down the government for 17 days. Yeah, bitch. For health care, so your grandma could check her blood pressure, and you bitches could go check your gynecologist with no problem.
Solid right there. Solid. But think about this. right? And this is the reach of this is why I talk about like with Ocasio-Cortez. Her reach is so big because of the social media thing. And that's why her and Trump have a lot in common. They talk straight to a base that follows them, that believes in what they say. They don't need the traditional media to get out the message. They want to get out to the people that support them. And for anybody to criticize them, they'll look right at you and say, be damned with you. She is the same thing with Trump, man. Both her, Ocasio-Cortez, and her, they hammer the media if they come after them. And so do their followers. So, and you hear something like this, and you think, oh, my God, it's stupid, it's ridiculous. But you know what? People talk about it. It gets shared a bunch of times. The young millennial kids that work here and interns talk about this stuff. Don't think it doesn't have an influence. And they're voters. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Butcher Box, incredible. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Everybody laughs at me because I am not a fish eater. They've got new, sustained, harvested Bristol Bay Alaskan salmon, and I've eaten it. And I will say this, I'm a salmon eater. I don't know if I can eat any other fish, but what Butcher Box makes, I'll try it. And I was surprised, but I love all their stuff. Oh, man, that sirloin tips last night. Oh, what are you waiting for? Less than $6 a meal? The best meat around? Grass-fed, grass-finished. That's their beef. Free-ranging, free-roaming organic chicken. Huge breast. Whoa, Chad, settle down. And the best pork around. Sourced in a way where it keeps all its fat and flavor. Kids, free shipping right to your door. Now they've got sockeyed salmon. Why would you want a sock of salmon? I don't know, but it tastes amazing. So what I want you to do, go to butcherbox.com/Chad. And when you sign up, for a limited time, they're going to throw in 2 pounds of Alaskan sockeyed salmon and $20 off your first box. So think about that. If you love salmon, you're going to love this. And you're not going to find cuts, quality meats anywhere else like this. But this right here is amazing. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Limited time, 2 pounds of sockeyed salmon plus $20 off and all of the other amazing, delicious meats. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says President Trump put a stop to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's overseas trip because the administration wants to keep her in Washington. Sanders told reporters, quote, if she leaves, she guarantees that the second round of paychecks to workers won't go out. The president and Pelosi have not spoken since that contentious meeting on January 9th that ended after just 14 minutes. The president declared it a total waste of time. Sanders said Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer always have an invitation to the White House if they want to come and negotiate.
It's so funny. Yeah, he's like, you know what? Yeah, here's a letter. You sent me a letter. I'm going to send you a letter that says, I know you're getting ready to get on a plane in a few hours, but you should really be here trying to get this thing done. Now, some people think it's ridiculous.
Whether this kind of fifth grade conduct is going to contribute, it's hard to see how it's very constructive. But at the end of the day, whatever his motivation is, we're going to do our oversight.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There you go. Right. There you go. There's Adam Schiff. Right. Fifth grade behavior. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of. But shouldn't she still be there? Right. Because I don't see any urgency from either side of the aisle. Here's one thing. I don't agree with the methods of what Trump is doing. It frustrates me at times. I understand this was a promise and he wants to keep that promise. I want immigration reform across the board. In saying that, there's a deal to be had there. And they're not going to give him what he wants. He's willing to give them I think, what they want. But she's not going to. And right now, I think, and Trump is really not communicating this the way he should. I think he could do a better job at communicating this, and I think he should be transparent and open, saying, look, I want to, they really want DACA to get done. I want that. I'm offering him X, Y, Z. Put the ball in their court. Right now, the public, because you wanted to own this, is giving it to you. That may change, but it's not changing today. Hence the reason why Pelosi doesn't feel that she needs to stick around, because she already has the answer that she's going to give you over and over again. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at us. Love hearing from you each and every day at this time, no matter if it's rain or sunshine, dark or light. We give you this. It's called the Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
Today is the day that you're supposed to break your New Year's resolution. Many of you are changing the way that you're doing things, trying to lose a little bit of lbs. Those are pounds. Trenditarian might be what you are. You go, you hit the Google, you find out what the hottest thing is. Maybe it's just cutting one thing out of your meals because that's the trend. That's what you are. You're a trenditarian. It's your Urban Word of the Day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the Urban Word of the Day. We damn stretched your cranium.
She should be staying here to negotiate to get this place back open.
Yeah. But she didn't want to, right? She was going to take off. And look, she's got things to do. I got no problem with that, right? I got no problem with that. But if you're telling him in this unprecedented situation of there's no way that we could have or even think about having a State of the Union, right? And she disinvites him, well, couldn't you say the same to her? Just saying. Throw it out there. I don't think either of them are right or wrong. I'm just letting you decide for yourself. Depends on what side of the aisle you're sit on, who you hate or love the most. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The co-president of the march, Tamika Mallory, is under fire over her ties to Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, who has made a number of anti-Semitic and homophobic remarks in the past. On The View Monday, Mallory was pressed on the issue and said while she disagreed with some of his statements, she refused to condemn Farrakhan. Since then, the fallout has continued to grow. Late Tuesday, the DNC became the latest sponsor to pull out.
Yeah, this is what happens when you... I call it the oppressed Olympics, right? Because it's all about intersectionality. It's all about all of the most diverse... if you're a cisgender white female, is that right? Do you call them, is it only, or do you only call them cisgender if they're male? I'm not quite sure. I need a ruling on that, Phil. I don't want to put my foot in anything. But if you're a white female that happens to identify with your birth gender, you're just below a male in this world of oppression, right? A white male, right? Now, black male you might be tied with, Hispanic male you might be, you get where I'm going with this. And this is the problem when you identify and play these games of insanity and you associate yourself with somebody like Louis Farrakhan. And let's be real, it's just now that people are calling them out. I see people calling out Rep King all the time, as they should, because he's a clown. But there's an issue here, and that they're trying to deal with it. And I just sit here and I just shake my head because it's all about jockeying for position and how we can, make sure that we are all in a situation where the intersectionality comes together. And for those of you, I'll give you guys a quick snapshot if you know what that is. It's picture everybody coming together, and then we're going to intersect, and we're going to do it in such a way of certain groups, right? And then the subsets of certain groups, and so on and so forth. So then you've got to look as we intersect all of these diverse groups. So you're a cisgender white female, you're over here because it's identity politics. Okay, here's one. You're an African-American trans woman, so you're over here. Like you've got several badges in this, and there's a hierarchy even in this. And so you've got this big march coming up, and not only is there them fighting themselves, because to say that you don't want him around, oh my goodness, I mean, the Nation of Islam, and oh, now she's worried, is she going to be called out for it? She is called out for it, but she doesn't really want to say anything, but then she does, and she doesn't. The fight was, if you didn't hear the fight, it was interesting because Meghan McCain called her on the floor for it. She did. And I thought that was good. I thought it needed to be done. The fact that anybody gives him any kind of credence or for the things that he said is insane. But when you're looking at in the Oppression Olympics, is there a reason he does stuff like that? Right? We want to make sure that if we're going to, does he have an excuse? Can we write it off? We need to know. And I'm just sitting there just going, wow, I don't even know what this march is for. It's a woman's march. Okay. Which one is this for? Is this the one where everybody wore the pink hats? Are we doing that again? Is this the pink hat one? And this isn't a march for life. So I get confused. And it's all about, again, how many boxes of identity can you check off? That's the important thing. This is Tamika Mallory and Meghan McCain the other day.
I don't agree with many of Minister Farrakhan's statements.
Specifically about Jewish people.
As I said, I don't agree with many of Minister Farrakhan's statements.
Do you condemn them?
I don't agree with these statements. At the end of the day...
You won't condemn it.
No. To be very clear, it's not my language. It's not the way that I speak. It is not how I organize.
Just totally walking around it. The things that he has said, and you walk around it. Well, I'm telling you, this is what happens when the game... I'm all for diversity. I'm all, you know what? You can be who you want to be. I'm all about organic diversity. Just let it happen naturally, right? Don't force it, but that's what we do. And everybody's got to, everybody wants to have some sort of place. And having these identities gives people, some of them, I tell you what, they love having the identities. They feel it gives them power, right? And this is that part of that oppressed Olympic thing that we've talked about is the more that you can check off the box, the more that you can say, look at me, look how oppressed I am, look how I've set myself up. I don't want to look at anybody like that. You're just you. Well, I've had it tough. A lot of people have it tough. Well, Chad, you're a white male. That's everybody's go-to, the privilege. Just like the other day, you got that CNN analyst calling David Webb. Well, you would know of your privilege because of you being a white male. It always started out with everybody's a victim. Racism, sexism, homophobia, it's everywhere. It's insane. It is. They're even eating their own. There's an article on the front page of CNN talking about Beto, who is the left's darling at this moment in time. But then it says, he's got so much white privilege, though, that a woman of color wouldn't be able to do the things that he's able to do in his Jack Kerouac lifestyle. Well, he just hangs out and has fun and decides what he wants to do. And I'm sitting there going, how do people, I'm an optimist, right? I look around and I realize in life, sometimes, you know what? You get kicked in the grundle. Sometimes somebody, man, the hill that they have to climb is literally a stepping stool. And other people, they got to go up Everest. And it sucks. But at some point in time, you got to decide, are you going to be a victim or are you a victor? Are you going to do something about the position you're in or whatever that you see as a slight in the way that you were born or whatever it is? Or are you going to use it as a crutch and now as some sort of badge and at times a weapon, if you can? That's the question you need to ask yourself. But people every single day, they're looking for something. They're looking for something. Here's a perfect example of just looking for something. ESPN today. So Trump has the Clemson football team over there, right? Feeds them all a bunch of hamburgers and stuff like this. And at ESPN, I think this is the one with Stephen A. Smith, although this is not him, talking about that. And like the first thing that she thinks of because of fast food.
When I saw him giving the football players, it's a predominantly black sport and fast food, my thought went a very different place. Also,
I think the president likes fast food.
A bunch of jobs. Yeah. I mean, come on.
My head went to a different place because they're predominantly black, so they don't like hamburgers. They don't like hamburgers. They don't like pizza. They don't like French fries. None of those kids have ever eaten any of this. That is just looking for something. Day to day. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Giuliani is trying to walk back what he said in the fight with Cuomo over collusion and no collusion, kind of collusion. Is there collusion? Collusion?
Never said there was no collusion between the campaign or between people in the campaign.
Yes,
I have no idea if I have not. I said the President of the United States. There is not a single bit of evidence the President of the United States committed the only crime you could commit here, conspired with the Russians to hack the DNC.
Now, if he conspired with the Russians, I've said I want to know. I want to know. I want to let this thing play itself out. I want the Mueller thing to come out. If he supposedly did what everybody thinks, which was hack into the DNC, and he knew about it, then we all need to know, and then he needs to go. If, I don't know. Do you know? I do know. How do you know? How do you know and nobody else know? How is it that you know it and nobody else does? Well, because I know. Okay, I see. Well, what about Manafort? Manafort gave a bunch of polls and numbers? What did that do? I'm curious.
Is Manafort is viable at the head of the campaign when that's going on. Then he's viable at the head of the campaign, giving polling data that winds up having the same faces and places targeted by the campaign that are targeted by Russian trolls. How is that not collusion?
It's not collusion.
How is it not?
Well, because polling data is given to everybody. I mean, you shouldn't have given it to them. It's wrong to give it to them.
It's not given to everybody.
And I can't speak for Paul Manafort. Of course it is. First of all, the most inappropriate, the most inaccurate stuff is internal polling data. All of it is cooked.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But still, it's so funny. He's tried to walk it back today. And it's not a good look. But before, people say, Chad, you're a homer for the president. I don't want my president to be any more scummy than he already is. In his personal life, I don't want him to be. I wouldn't want, I want my president to succeed. In saying that, from what I've heard, from what other people have said, when it comes to the collusion side of thing, when it comes to a lot of this other stuff that everybody wants, this is going to be a wah, wah, wah. And then what? I mean, where do we go from there? But you listen to them, and look, they're trying to potentially distance themselves even further. But you look at Cohen, right? He's going to testify on the 7th. I have a feeling. He's getting nervous about doing it in public. I have a feeling he's just going to get torn to shreds. You look at Manafort, and people say, well, look at how guilty they are. All the stuff they've pled guilty to are things that they did that have nothing to do with campaign. They're not going to jail for campaign finances. They're going to jail for tax evasion. They're going to jail things like that, lying on forms, financial forms, doing certain things like that. But if Trump is guilty of these things, then damn Skippy needs to go. But why can't people let it play out? I'm curious about the why. Why can't you just let it run its course? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. AMAC. Free stuff usually is like, but AMAC's doing something amazing. They're giving my listeners, that's you guys out there, a free year membership. AMAC.us/chat. Conservative alternative to ARP. They're out there on your behalf, politically advocating for common sense immigration reform, things of that nature, Social Security reform, so it's around longer, doing it the right way. And they're fighting the good fight. But on top of that, the membership comes with all these amazing perks like retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, 40% off movie tickets, 40% off Disneyland, Disney World, SeaWorld, Legoland, things of that nature. It is truly incredible what you get. And again, they didn't want your credit card. You just sign up for free. AMAC.us/chat. 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 1 year membership, absolutely free. It's on me. AMAC.us/chat. AMAC is better. Better for you. Better for America. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Guys, I want to take you back a ways. All right? I want you guys to go back a ways. And do you guys remember this?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Oh, yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
Oh, she's good times right there, huh? Now, you listen to her and you're like, who is that? That's Danielle Bregoli. She was the Cash Me Outside girl. She's got a stage name, though. Bad Baby.
So they do all that work, baby, to your chest. Get the streets in the I'ma make you love me.
Yeah. She got 2 gold singles. She was nominated for 2 Billboard Music Awards. And she signed a new contract with Copycat Cosmetics, which makes cosmetics that essentially mimic or just like the big high-dollar ones for $900,000. Soak that in for a second, if you guys could. Just breathe it on in. Understand what that's all about. $900,000 for Cashing Me Outside. I just love listening. To Dr. Phil.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
She didn't know. Catch me outside. How about that? How about that? Speaking of that, have you seen it?
If you haven't seen UCLA senior Caitlin Ohashi perform that perfect floor routine yet, you're probably the only person on the internet who hasn't. Such joy as she performs an incredibly difficult routine.
Being there with my team and my coach and being able to see them dancing with me, and it just feels like home.
It didn't feel like home when she was elite gymnast training for the Olympics, though. In fact, she was told by many she was just too big for the sport. At 14, she quit. Then she enrolled at UCLA and thrived once again. Now Caitlin Ohashi is writing poetry.
I am my own size, and no words or judgmental stares will make me compromise.
Oh, there you go. Now, I have seen it. It's cool. She looks like she's having fun. It's pretty awesome to look at. And everybody, like, there's so many people that body shame. And it's just so, again, the internet is so amazing and it's so awful because it is one of those things where it brings out the absolute worst in human beings. And to see the comments that people make about her, she's stocky. And So what? But to see that and to see people, and I'm just like, I have never thought, oh, I should go online. I see somebody and I should just talk about how fat and gross they are. This girl's anything but fat or gross. But what causes people to do that? That's like my question. It's like, I want to know, it's like, why did you do that? Like, what about that? That girl who got a 10, who did stuff that you could never do, that you don't know, would cause you to go online and to say something horrific about her. The cash me outside girl, I get that. But she don't care because she going to cash you outside. But this, it's amazing. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, at Chad Benson Show. Got a Twitter poll up there. How long do you believe this there shutdown will last? 30 days? Right? 45? 60? 90 plus? Right now, 45 days is in the lead. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
All too often in the last 2 years, the president has acted like he's in the 5th grade. And to have someone who has that kind of character running the country is an enormous problem at every level.
That's Adam Schiff. If you don't know who he is, he and Tom Steyer are the ones that are going to take the president down. Phil, you still belong to Tom Steyer's mailing list?
I keep thinking I've unsubscribed to it, and yet I get 3 emails a day.
Yeah, Tom's really excited. If Tom wanted him to go, if he was serious about it, wouldn't you just call him up and say, look, dude, I got $1.5 billion. I will give you $1 billion. I will transfer it over if you leave. I'd be like, I'll think about that.
He's getting ready to spend another $40 million.
God, that guy. I don't know how much he spent. And if you guys don't know who he is, there is nobody who has a disdain for Trump. If you think these politicians have a disdain for Trump, maybe the new freshmen do. But Tom Steyer is just, he can't stand Trump. I mean, he can't stand Trump with all of his heart. He hates Trump like you could not believe. And he runs just incessant ads trying to impeach Trump, trying to remove him. I mean, he's just nuts.
We have a huge crisis in the United States, and that crisis is the president. And so what I've said is, I believe that I can make the most differential positive impact. The right thing for me to do is to try and organize the movement to impeach and remove this president as soon as possible.
Yeah, so a younger generation is like, I mean, you've got the new Rep Tlaib and all, they want him gone. I don't know if they know what happens after that, right? Like, I don't know if they know what, takes place that, hey, let's just say you get rid of Trump, or he just says, all right, I'm just sick of this and I want to leave. It's not like they go, Hillary, come on, it's your turn. That doesn't happen. And then Mike Pence gets it, which the media is going to love because he is nonstop fun. In fact, the most controversial thing to come out of Mike Pence in the last several years, as far as things where the media would even paid any attention, with his wife yesterday going back to work at a school that is anti-LGBTQ, trans. I'm just like, they wrote a book, his wife and their daughter about their dog. I mean, but Tom Steyer, man, he's just ready to go.
But really what is going on in terms of the impeachment and removal of this president is that the power is the voice and the opinion of the American people. Because the only way that this president is going to be impeached and removed from office is if the American people, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or independents across the board geographically, insist on it. And that's what I believe is going to happen.
No, that's not what happens. Let me tell you how it works. Everybody in the country could hate him. Right? They could all hate him. But if he's not committed any crimes and there's no reason for impeachment, then they're not just going to go, well, nobody likes you, so you got to leave. It doesn't work that way. It's like, well, no, actually I don't, because I won the election and they're going to allow me to stay because that's all. It's here. It's all in the legal framework and the whole 9 yards. The way there's no. Now, if they find out something about it, well, that's a different story. But that's the insanity of some of this. And today, look, I will say the letter that Trump received from Nancy Pelosi, oh, we shouldn't be having the State of the Union. What was the thing, us being locked down? And I'm worried about her disingenuous lie, by the way, of the whole security. I'm worried about security. I always think she sounds like Katharine Hepburn, but it's not true.
I have no doubt that our men and women in the federal workforce have the capability to protect. The inference that they want to say is, oh, you don't think they can? Yes, they can. They're professionals. They trained for this. They should be paid for this.
Because the Secret Service is also one of those who I guess is not getting paid, but they're so far ahead. Do you guys have any idea how they've already said, we're totally fine. Everything's good. Nothing's changed. It's not like we're just furloughing him. He's got one person following him around. No. Nothing's changed. And I would worry, actually, if you're that, it's like if you're living on, beans and rice and you're struggling, I don't know if I want you to protect me. Maybe somebody else. But that's disingenuous. That was her thing. And then today he sends a letter saying, well, I know you're going to get on the plane in a few hours, but no, you should be here. You shouldn't be going anywhere, which is also very childish. I mean, in some ways, should she be here? Oh, absolutely. I think she should be here. Right? I mean, you guys should at least act like you're trying to sort this thing out.
It's been a back and forth deal that Speaker Pelosi began. Really doesn't help anything at all.
But I will tell you this. This is all about 2020. It's about positioning the narrative for both sides. If they can defeat him here, if they can't get him with the Mueller report, now I don't know what's going to come out of that. I don't want to hear, well, you're sticking up for Trump. Do you know what's going to come out of it? And if you say yes, you know, you don't know. I have my weasels, I joke around and call them, that are much closer than your weasels. And they're like, this isn't going to be all it's cracked up to be. Unless they find something else, which, you know what? He got a 6-month extension on the grand jury, so maybe he does. But this is about positioning. They feel if they can break Trump and get him to back away from his wall, that is the promise that will turn a portion of that base completely against him and will doom the rest of his presidency. But they know if eventually the heat's too strong and he gets his way and he gets his $5 billion to fall, even if they only give him $5 billion, they'll give him the rest of the money. He'll have stood up for them, is the way they look at it. He'll have kept his promise. And boom, they're going to back him. I don't know. All I know is we're not open for business in certain parts of the country that we should be. And on top of that, it's now getting to the point where people are looking around going, it is eventually going to start to weigh down on the economy. And that's something right there that I think people need to understand. Once commerce starts to feel it, and then the 50 degrees of separation from us to the shutdown becomes 3, 4, 5 degrees, and then all of a sudden things that we need aren't there or stuff that we've ordered can't get here, then is when the real heat and pressure is going to come on. Right now, It's not there. They can roll out people all day and said so-and-so's here at the food bank because they don't have any food, and that sucks. But you also walked around 50 people that were there for the last month and a half who also don't have jobs, having nothing to do with the government shutdown.
Worries on Wall Street that the shutdown is taking its toll on the economy. Dire estimates indicate $1.2 billion in lost growth for each week it continues. The White House economic advisor admitting the administration underestimated the fallout.
The damage is a little bit worse because of government contractors, something that was excluded from our first analysis.
Some 800,000 federal workers affected will eventually get back pay from the government, but government contracted employees like Roy Blumenfeld will not.
Yes, there will be no back pay for this. This is unpaid time off for me.
Yeah, because he's furloughed and he's not accruing hours and he doesn't get paid from the government in just, hey, here's a check. He's a contractor. So they don't just say, here's your check with all your stuff taken out and your retirement and all these kind of things. He's a contractor. He's got a contract to work on. And right now he's not getting any of those hours. So yeah, it's frustrating for a lot of people and it sucks, but we're not quite to the point where it's so uncomfortable that both sides are feeling it. The blame's with Trump right now, might stay with Trump for a little while longer, but this is about 2020. So it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes from here. Who's got the oomph to stick it out? We'll see. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I don't know if you guys have been following this. This is a very interesting story about a basketball player who is not going to be going to England with his team because he worries what might happen to him there. It's a very interesting thing because he is, and it's weird because Turkeys disown him. He's not an American citizen. And he's insulted, he's insulted Erdogan, and which anybody can do. And they're trying to come after him. So the whole thought process is, I can't leave here. He may not even go to Canada to play games. I don't know. But he's definitely not going to Europe.
New York Knicks center Enes Kanter has called Turkey's President Erdogan, quote, the Hitler of our century and a freaking lunatic.
The one lunatic guy, one maniac, or dictator.
Earlier this month, Kanter said he couldn't travel with the Knicks to London for a game this week because Turkey would have him killed.
Oh yeah, easy. They got a lot of spies there. I can get killed because they're easy.
A Turkish newspaper says prosecutors are now asking Interpol to issue an arrest warrant for Kanter, saying he's a member of a terror group and citing his ties to a cleric Turkey accuses of plotting a failed coup in 2016.
Isn't that crazy? And now we were talking, if you ever saw the movie Terminal, because apparently they've stripped him of his citizenship. And I was like, so let me get this right. He doesn't really have a country, so what would happen? Would he get stuck somewhere and have to live in a terminal? Man, that's nuts. That's crazy. Erdogan's crazy. I don't blame him for not wanting to go there. Interpol's like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get involved in this, but I could see. Like, we touched on it a little bit last night. These dictators, these people, as we saw with Khashoggi, several other people inside of the world of Russia who've fled elsewhere and have since paid the price by dying by contact, if you will. They got a contact eye and never woke up. Yeah, so I could see that. I could. Still, though, being in America, you don't think he can get you here? I think he could. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. My Pillow, 2019. So today is the day that supposedly you break your New Year's resolution. A lot of people already broke their New Year's resolution, but today's the day when you can, I guess it's break your New Year's resolution day. You probably are ready to break your New Year's resolution of sleeping awful and now want to make a new one, which is sleeping great, and that's where My Pillow comes in. I've got my Go Anywhere pillow. I'll be in a hotel tonight. I'm going to sleep fantastic. I don't have to worry about that. I was a skeptic. I'm a skeptic no more. You're going to love it. 100% machine washable, dryable, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. And right now, they've got a money-back guarantee till March 1st. You're going to get 4 MyPillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go-Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. And again, money-back guarantee until March 1st. You're not going to find this deal anywhere else. So this is what I want you to do. Call 800-944-4975. Put it to the test, right? Or you can go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Benson. What do you got to lose? Nothing. Got a money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Benson, or call 800-944-4975. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go-Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. MyPillow.com, use promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Michael Cohen said on Twitter he acted at the direction of and for the sole benefit of President Trump after the Wall Street Journal reported he hired a small technology firm to rig online polls ahead of the presidential campaign. The firm's owner claimed Cohen stiffed him on most of the bill. Federal prosecutors have said Cohen sought reimbursement from the Trump Organization for $50,000 worth of technology services, but the nature of those services had not been disclosed. The same article said Cohen also asked the firm to create a Twitter account for him to promote Cohen as a sex symbol.
He's an idiot. Just soak that in for a second, right? Just soak it in for a second. That he was paying an IT firm to promote him as a sex symbol. No matter what he says, no matter what information he has, that right there alone disqualifies you from any real conversation. And if you look into some of the stuff, he had a lot of access to money. And apparently he paid these like $13,000 in cash, and he gave him like an MMA boxing glove from some fighter. It was just, it's so, this guy is a buffoon. He's one of those guys where you're like, I'm surprised you're still alive. I am. I'm surprised nobody's come and gotten you. Just saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You know, one of the things that's that people need to look at is, as we move forward here, is, and I've been saying this for a while, is student debt and how big it is and how the effect that it's going to have on our economy moving forward.
The Federal Reserve says homeownership for young adults between the ages of 24 and 32 fell 9% between 2005 and 2014. And it says a key driver in that drop was the rise in student loan debt. The report says the average amount of student loan debt doubled during those years. Kathleen Day is a professor at Johns Hopkins University and the author of Broken Bargain, Bankers, Bailouts, and the Struggle to Tame Wall Street.
If you saddle consumers with too much debt, it hobbles the economy.
The Fed estimates there are 400,000 fewer young homeowners as a result of student loan debt.
Yeah, and that's not going to get any better. And there's more and more debt out there, and it's not going anywhere. And it's something to look at because these kids are coming out of school with a mortgage already. And then what? What are they going to do? Because they're not going to be able to have two. And those big purchases come with lots of other little purchases, and that drives the economy. And a bubble's going to burst, and it's going to be ugly. And we keep looking at the stock market, this, that, and the other. It could be this thing. And I don't think people realize that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. They're called the Southern Poverty Law Center. They don't really deal a lot in poverty, and they have no poverty to speak of themselves. They have a lot of money stashed away. But what they do is they tell everybody who's a hate group, and let's just say everybody who doesn't believe the way they believe is a hate group. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Knocking the hell out of ISIS, and we're bringing our folks back home.
We have won against ISIS. We've beaten them, and we've beaten them badly. We've taken back the land, and now it's time for our troops to come back home.
Yeah, and, yesterday you had 4 Americans killed. I think it was 2 civilians that were part of an attachment that was out there, and then 2 military personnel that were killed. And it's awful. And ISIS claimed responsibility for it. And then, everybody goes on and make it political and say, look, ISIS isn't defeated. And the reality is that you can't kill an ideology. You're not going to kill it. Right? You're not going to snuff out an ideology. You're not. Now, can you make what they do so small and the impact that they have negligible? I think we've done a lot of that. The caliphate, hear people talk about the caliphate. And remember this, ISIS, as much as they, and we talk about, what ISIS is? They use an ideology to be gangsters. That's the reality of that. They use an ideology to be gangsters. And like everything else, they need something to rail against to make money, to bring money in. That's the reality of that. Us leaving is going to take one less thing for them to rail against in a situation where, I'm more worried about what would happen with the Kurds and the Turks than I am ISIS in Syria at this moment, because ISIS has other issues with Russia and with Assad and them to face that won't get the same kind of pub if they do something horrific to the ISIS idiots. So they need a monster right now. And you got to go to your fundraisers. Who are you going to sell stuff? Who are you going to, it's tough. It is. One day that veil is going to be drawn back, and just like we did, like when Bin Laden, right? When they go through Bin Laden's computer, what's he have on there? He's got Viagra everywhere. He's got porn. So all kinds of uppers and downers. They're gangsters, and they use an ideology, and they twist it and they turn it. That's what they do, and they prey on people that are disenfranchised, and they say they're bad. They're just gangsters. They're just gangsters. They are. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Speaking of people who prey on people and who need a monster to fight, I don't know if you know who the Southern Poverty Law Center is. They are the group that fights against hate. And they use poverty in there. And not quite sure what that is. But they're the group that goes out there. They're a super uber liberal left-leaning group that decides who's a hate group and who's not. And over the years, they have destroyed many individuals, made other people's lives hell. They've demonized many other groups that just have a different political belief system than they do, and they do it under the guise of we're doing the right thing morally. We're superior to you, so that's who we are, and we're able to do things like this to you. And people have been fighting back, and they've been winning, and now there's a new group that is taking them on, and this new group's coming hard for them in a way that's very interesting.
Mark Cohen is executive director at the Center for Immigration Studies. His group just sued the SPLC for designating them as a hate group. Finally, someone is fighting back against this. What is the basis of this lawsuit, Mark?
Our attorneys decided the way to go was to file a RICO lawsuit under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, which is used in the criminal part by, against the mafia or whatever by the government, but there are civil parts where private individuals can file suit. And the basis of the claim is they are committing wire fraud by falsely describing us as a hate group in order to do harm to my organization.
In the world that we live in with the computer, the internet, if you get labeled something, we see it with individuals, right? They get labeled something. And for some, that's kind of who they are. But for others, it only takes one thing for them to be labeled and for it to destroy their business, their career. I mean, how many times have we seen somebody, we just saw it recently, when people go, they find an old tweet, something somebody said, and depending on which side of the aisle you're on, you're going to be held accountable for it in different ways, and it can destroy your life. So they've come after this group, and this group, by the way, they want the wall. They're very pro-American, but everybody's a hate group. Really? Everybody's a hate group. And it only takes the fear factor. Like we've talked about with businesses, for God's sakes, the fear factor of I don't want to be associated or labeled with something online because it'll destroy me. And this is a group who loves to raise money. They've got about $300+ million that they've raised. They've got huge endowments from people that pour in. Money just pours into the left, right, and center. And you don't want to be on their bad side.
Has it done harm to your organization being designated?
It's done some. I mean, we have a body, a reputation, and a body of work that makes it hard to plausibly call us a hate group. I mean, we've testified before Congress more than 100 times. We've been cited in Supreme Court decisions.
Right.
We publish real professors, the work of professors from legitimate universities. Nonetheless, it has in fact had an effect. One example that we mentioned in the suit, Amazon has this program where you can designate a nonprofit group to get a small amount of revenue every time you buy something. We were removed from that program, and the person who communicated that to us made the mistake of actually saying what the reason was. In print, he said, we just get our list from the SPLC.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. We just get our list from that. And so, because they're not going to do their homework, because it's so weird. You've got individuals who are making decisions on things that will affect people's life. Some of there are a lot of, if you go to the Southern Poverty Law's website, you'll find a lot of real hate groups. But there are some in there you're like, really? They put that person on there, or they've done this, and it's not just groups, it's individuals, and it can be damning to a person's career and life. And in this day and age, we've talked about how many times have we said we no longer want to see somebody taken down a notch or two because maybe they're too big for their britches. We want to bury them 6 feet under and make sure they can never escape. And something like this could be completely damaging to a company and could destroy companies and individuals.
This is a kind of thing you see a lot in the tech industry, for instance, where they just assume that progressive political views are just the normal political views, and anybody who doesn't hold them somehow is weird, and to be shunned. And I think that's part of what it is. You see the same thing with journalism, where a lot of media simply cite the SPLC's hate group designation as just sort of a fact. You know, this person is this old, he's wearing, a blue suit, and he's been designated as a, hate group by the SPLC.
Yeah. Can you imagine if somebody designated you because of a tweet you did or because they don't like your politics as a hate group, and you'd have to fight? They just settled a lawsuit with a Muslim who used to be an extremist who now speaks out against it, who they then labeled a person who is part of a hate organization, and they had to settle at a court because they knew that they were going to lose. But like a lot of these organizations, the fear factor is it's almost like they're extorting. Like, better watch out or else. It's so ridiculous. It really is. And with the internet, for all the greatness of the internet, and we're still in the infancy of the internet, it can be used as people stand on moral high ground in a way that can really do damage. Even something that is innocent, or a differing of opinions, or a differing of politics and ideas can cost you. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So there doesn't look like there is going to be at least in the traditional sense, a State of the Union and Nancy Pelosi. Here's a perfect example of somebody lying, talking about, well, we're worried about security and all of these kind of things and the people that are part of the security, like his, the people that guard him, Secret Service, who, by the way, aren't getting paid, but also said, we do our jobs. We're fine. We're double, triple, quadruple planned, quadruple, triple, quadruple planned. We're good. But Nancy's pitching it that way. And of course, people are somewhat kind of calling her on it.
I have no doubt that our men and women in the federal workforce have the capability to protect. The inference that they want to say is, oh, you don't think they could. Yes, they can. They're professionals. They trained for this. They should be paid for this.
Yeah. Okay. Just be honest, right? Just be honest about it. Nobody's calling her on it. They're fine. And when you ask them, they're like, we're good. We're good. We're fine. We got this, Nancy. Don't you? You do you. I don't know where Trump, and again, the State of the Union, there's no set date. None of these things are, it's just, this is when we're going to do it kind of. He can do it whenever he wants, and he can do it wherever he wants. Maybe he should take it on the road. He likes to do that. Does he have to do it from the Capitol? I think that's anywhere in there. He could take it on the road. Make it a road show. I'll be doing 4 nights. I'm doing a 7-night residency in Vegas. There you go. I'd like that. That'll be fun. Or he could just tweet it, and we can all be done with it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Car Shield. I and my car don't leave home without it. Neither should you. The what ifs in life. That's what you have to prepare for. The what ifs. And when it comes to your car, especially your car's a little bit long in the tooth, older like mine. Mine's not too old, but it's old enough that I don't have a manufacturer warranty. I bought it used, but I do have Car Shield extended vehicle protection, so I don't worry about the what ifs because I'm covered. Right? If it breaks down, I'm covered. I got roadside assistance 24/7. Thank you, Car Shield. I'll get a rental car for free. My friend's going through it right now. She's had a rental car for 5 days from them. She hasn't paid a dime for it. She doesn't have to. They're getting her car fixed. She should have it back any day now. And she paid a small deductible. They covered the rest. It was like $1,900. That's what they'll do for you. So don't worry about the what ifs. Get yourself protected like I did. It's called Car Shield. Check them out at carshield.com. Use my promo code Chad. They got all kinds of plans there. You can look at top to bottom. Carshield.com, code Benson, or call them 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson. Saves you 10% right there. Or carshield.com, code Benson. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? The president telling his Treasury Secretary he'll have to stay home and skip the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, saying it's out of respect for 800,000 federal workers going without pay. Earlier, the president denied House Speaker Nancy Pelosi the use of an Air Force jet for a fact-finding overseas trip to Afghanistan. All that after the speaker asked the president to put off the State of the Union address until both sides end the nearly month-long shutdown.
I hope he puts off the State of the Union for good. And just does what they used to do for a long time and just sends something in writing. And he did that today, I'm sure, right in Nancy's face. And you can call it childish, what it is. She should be sticking around. And the fact that he wasn't even going to go to Davos, already had canceled that, and now he's canceled the entire trip. That's interesting. And if you don't know what Davos is, it's basically where the muckety-mucks of the globe get together. Countries and whatnot, and they talk about, the economy and things of that nature. Very interesting. Speaking of getting together and talking about stuff, isn't it time we know? Ooh,
This is one of the incidents the Pentagon's secretive group of UFO hunters investigated.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh.
This object appeared off the California coast in 2004 and baffled 2 Navy pilots.
It's not a drone. It's not something that we can easily say, oh, that's an airplane.
Luis Elizondo ran the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program at the Defense Department. He believes the way that school bus-sized object moved defied the known laws of physics.
What we are looking at is truly beyond next-generation technologies.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Harry Reid, we talked a bit about it, right? Because he wants to know. They got that new show, Project Blue Book. I really want to see that. So a lot of good stuff going on out there. We're getting close. We're getting close to knowing the truth.
Former Nevada Senator Harry Reid championed the UFO program, and some of the funding reportedly went to one of his donors, Robert Bigelow, founder of the military contractor Bigelow Aerospace. The Las Vegas tycoon spoke with 60 Minutes.
Do you imagine that in our space travels we will encounter other forms of intelligent life?
You don't have to go anywhere.
You can find it here.
Yeah.
Where exactly?
It's just like right under people's noses.
Yeah. Now, you talk to some physicists, scientists, they'll say, it's possible this is another dimension. You don't know. Some of them think it's highly likely. We could be somebody's pet for all we know. We could be their version of the little sea things, the sea monkeys. Remember those? Yeah, you don't know.
Unlike in the movies, most UFOs don't turn out to be alien spacecraft. This green fireball above Buenos Aires in 2015 was likely a meteor, while this strange light over Los Angeles was actually a missile test.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work operating in areas that we can't control.
Yeah. Very interesting. I'm not saying everything is aliens, but you just never know, and I just find it hard to believe that we're it. I say it all the time, right? I say it all the time. Hey, do you sleep well?
The nation's most sleepless city is now home to the leader who often tweets at 3 a.m.
The city that was most sleepless was Washington, D.C.
Michael Acton Smith commissioned that most and least sleepless city survey. He's one of the men who runs the Calm smartphone app that actually helps people sleep. Folks in New York City seem to sleep better than most, and the best sleep city was El Paso.
Yeah. How about those apples, kids? Get your sleep. It's vitally important. We're finding that more and more. Do what you got to do to get your sleep. Maybe it's a MyPillow. Should be a MyPillow. But do what you got to do. Sleep is vitally important. And if you're in D.C., stop tweeting and take a nap. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Somebody tweeted at me. We were talking earlier about student loans, that many of these kids are getting loans for degrees that are going to be worthless. Yeah, that's on them. You can't get rid of that unless Ocasio-Cortez and them get their way, then you can, but we'll see what will happen in the future. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go see if I can find an alien. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We enter day 27 of the shutdown, and there are mounting stories of the real-life impact on people who are suddenly without a paycheck and scrambling to make ends meet.
Those stories are coming in from across the country. Food banks stepping in to help, federal workers protesting. Meanwhile, no progress in Washington, and still no word from the president himself about the State of the Union.
No. It's interesting. They're going to the food banks, and as they cover the federal workers that are at these food banks, that are going there, as they paint the picture, and it's horrible. I don't want them to be out of work. I don't want anybody to be out of work. They're moving and maneuvering around other people that don't have jobs or having trouble making enough money to survive, even though they may work. But because there's no political slant on them, they ignore that. I just find that to be What do you think? What do you think is the number that we're going to get to when it comes to this shutdown? How big do you think it's going to go? Right? What's your guess? It's a Twitter poll today. Right now, 30 days has 22%, 45 days, 34%, 60 days, 17%, 27% of you say it's 90 days plus. I'm in that, I play like 42 and a half, 43. That's where I feel this thing's going to go to. That's where I feel. And the economy, remember, when it starts to go from 50 degrees of separation, meaning you don't know anybody or you're not directly affected by this yet. When it goes from that 50 degrees of separation down to 5 degrees of separation, where the economy starts to lag because things aren't being moved the way they're supposed to, inspectors aren't in the positions they're at, and all of a sudden people are missing shipments, or maybe you're not getting to where you need to go because of things that are going on at the airport, that is when it will start to really heat up on both sides of the aisle.
Worries on Wall Street that the shutdown is taking its toll on the economy. Dire estimates indicate $1.2 billion in lost growth for each week it continues. The White House economic advisor admitting the administration underestimated the fallout.
The damage is a little bit worse because of government contractors, something that was excluded from our first analysis.
Some 800,000 federal workers affected will eventually get back pay from the government, but government contracted employees like Roy Blumenfeld will not.
Yes, there will be no back pay for this. This is unpaid time off for me.
Yeah, and that's, we say, well, they're all going to get paychecks. No, 422,000 or so, give or take, people calling in sick, using up their sick time and vacation or whatever. The ones who are showing up, though, they're accruing hours, which means when it eventually reopens, the hours that they work, they'll get paid for. If you're a government contractor and you don't show up because you're told, hey, we don't need you right now, we've closed this part of the government, you're not getting hours for that. You're just not getting paid. And when you go back to work, you're not going to get paid for any hours that you didn't work. So there's about 400,000 people like that are affected by this.
Long lines at some major airports, like the world's busiest Atlanta Hartsfield. The crisis costing one of the country's largest carriers, Delta, $25 million so far in January alone. The safety of the skies now in question as the shutdown takes its toll on air traffic controllers.
I would say it is less safe today than it was a month ago. Absolutely. We do not have the professionals on the job. We are working with bare bones crews. We have controllers there doing what they do very, very well. But how long can you expect them to do it without all of the systems behind them to keep the system safe?
Yeah. When it affects you, and it will eventually, it'll affect all of us. And that could be not getting packages that you ordered. That could be not getting to where you need to go. That could be going to the store and finding out certain things weren't shipped that you needed. Though, when it starts to do that, then it'll really be on. Not quite there yet. Not quite. We're not there yet. We're not there. And how much and this is one of the things, is at this point in time, I mean, Nancy Pelosi this is it. She's not giving in at all, right? She's not going to give in at all. And this has a lot to do with 2020. What's going to send people on Trump's side, his base, his real base. Not talking about Republican voters have always come out, but the ones who put him over the top, the ones who are, once Trump leaves, whether it's in 2 years or 6 years, probably aren't going to be that invested in politics anymore. What's going to send them fleeing from him is him backing down from this. And I think he realizes that. And she's not going to give in at all, at least not anytime soon.
Insistence on the wall is a luxury the country can no longer afford.
That's what she says. I like it. It's funny, though, when you think about it. He's asking for $5 billion. That we just can't afford that. Have you seen how much money we spend? What is it, like It was $6 trillion. So think about it, $6 trillion is our budget. $5 trillion, $6 trillion, depending on what it is. We overspend anyways. We bring it, $4.5 trillion in, and we're going to overspend on that. But you look at that and you say, okay, let's compare that to what he's asking for. How much of that is actually biting into the budget? Slim to none. It's politics. It's politics. And they're going to play it straight at each other until eventually somebody is going to blink. And who that's going to be, I couldn't tell you. Not yet. Soon. Not at this moment.
College grads owe, on average, more than $35,000 in student loans when they leave school. That adds up to $1.5 trillion in debt load, and it's cited by the Federal Reserve as the main reason home ownership among people ages 24 to 32 has fallen significantly between 2005 and 2014. It's also cited as a reason more younger Americans are moving out of rural areas. The Fed says half of all student loan borrowers move into urban areas within 6 years of graduation as they search for higher-paying jobs.
Why this is important is as we flood the market with new graduates is, one of the things that drives our economy is new home purchases. Homes being built, new home purchases, all of those things drives our economy because when you get a new home, what do you want to do? You want to furnish, you want to put stuff in there. That's big. And I've been saying for the last several years, we're going to have to find a new way to drive the economy because kids are coming out with a mortgage. They're coming out with a mortgage. And when you come out with a mortgage, you're not taking on a second mortgage. You're not. And you're not, and I don't think people understand that. I don't think people really have an understanding of my friend, his daughter is going to UCLA and he's helped her out quite a bit. Shaved off half of what she would have paid. I'll tell you this, she's still going to come out with $75,000 in debt potentially. That's insane. That is insane. If a kid came to you today and said, let me borrow $75,000, Mr. Bank, Mrs. Bank, they'd be like, no, what are you going to use it for? Like, does it matter? Yeah, you got to pay it back. Well, I don't know. But they're coming out with this enormous amount of debt, and it saddles them to always be behind the eight ball. Now, I don't know what the fix is. There's going to be a fix there. But it is crazy. And so when you look at all of these things when it comes to the economy and think about all the stuff that's coming and this bubble that is going to burst with student debt is huge. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. It's absolutely getting there. And that's why when you see a younger generation that rally around Ocasio-Cortez or Tlaib or Bernie Sanders or the free tuition. Well, yeah, I would love it. Could you imagine today if I was a politician and I ran on, I'm going to wipe out all of your credit card debts because we think it's wrong? People would be like, oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah. Of course they'd rally around that. Oh, I'm coming to your house. I'm going to wipe out all your debts. Not going to happen. It's not. Because somebody's going to want to get paid to do something. College isn't going to be free. And I know some colleges are now toying around with the idea of essentially you go to school and then you're going to pay them from future wages. So you're going to give them a commission, right? When you're a broker in a lot of places, or when you go to sell, and you guys are probably familiar with this, while you build up your book, usually companies give you a draw against your commission. That's what this is going to be. It's going to be a draw against future earnings, and they'll take X amount. And I don't know if it lasts for 10 years or in perpetuity, but it's very interesting. People, they're looking for different things. They are. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Michael Cohen out there again today. And boy, he's interesting.
Michael Cohen said on Twitter he acted at the direction of and for the sole benefit of President Trump after the Wall Street Journal reported he hired a small technology firm to rig online polls ahead of the presidential campaign. The firm's owner claimed Cohen stiffed him on most of the bill. Federal prosecutors have said Cohen sought reimbursement from the Trump Organization for $50,000 worth of technology services, but the nature of those services had not been disclosed. The same article said Cohen also asked the firm to create a Twitter account for him to promote Cohen as a sex symbol.
This is so awesome. We're going to set one up. Chickstick Chad. You can follow me at Chickstick Chad. Promoting as a sex symbol. Goodness me. What does he think of himself? Like, what goes through his mind? Hey, is there any way you guys could set up something where, like, people really like me and I'm, like, super loved and, you know, you can give me a bunch of likes and just, it's awesome. You can Photoshop my head onto other people's bodies. I want women to really just admire my sexiness. He's worried about testifying in public. I would be too. This alone right here is the reason that no matter what you say from here on out or you said before, I can't even buy it, even if it's all true, because you're an idiot. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. How many days do you think the shutdown will go on? I put it at about 43 days. What's your guess? Text the program. You can tweet at us as well, at Chad Benson Show. We don't have the Chickstick Chad yet. We'll get that soon. Should it be non-gender specific individuals, Dig Chad? That just seems like it's a long, arduous thing to type out. We'll just stick with Chick Dick Chad. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Blink. Home security is incredible. I've got the Blink home security. It's easy to set up. No wires, anything like that. Boom. And you download the Blink smartphone app so I can check on, see what my lizards are doing. Because I always tend to think that when I leave the house, it's like the movie, The Secret Life of Pets. Like they get out and they're doing stuff and smoking cigarettes or whatever. But I love that part of it. But I also like the fact that my house is protected, right? That when I'm home and I don't have to worry about, what's going on, it is absolutely protected from top to bottom. And when I'm gone, that my goodies are protected as well. Your family's important. Your stuff is important. You work hard for it. Protect it the right way. Get Blink just easy to use. You got indoor, outdoor cameras, right? So they're motion activated, sets up in minutes. I don't like setup. It was easy to do. 2 AA batteries, last up to 2 years. And like I say, the live feed monitor option to look inside your house and maybe even check on your pets, that's there on the Blink smartphone app. You're going to love it. No contracts either, no subscriptions, totally affordable. Get it right now. Blink camera systems, incredible gifts, and a great way to monitor your package deliveries. All you have to do is go to visitblink.com, go to blink.com protect/Benson. So you go to blinkprotect.com/Benson, right? You go there and you're going to check everything out. Remember to use my code. That's Benson. So blinkprotect.com/Benson, blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blink is an Amazon company. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Somebody just said it's going to go on forever. I don't think it's going to go on forever. Over, under, 42.5. That's betting man right there. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
The nation's most sleepless city is now home to the leader who often tweets at 3 a.m.
The city that was most sleepless was Washington, D.C.
Michael Acton Smith commissioned that most and least sleepless city survey. He's one of the men who runs the Calm smartphone app that actually helps people sleep. Folks in New York City seem to sleep better than most, and the best sleep city was El Paso.
There you go, El Paso. And I believe, if I'm correct, El Paso is also the safest city over 500,000 in America. For all of the craziness and the talk of the border, and there's a wall, by the way. If you go to El Paso, you see there's a fence. I don't know if you call it a wall, right? Can you see through it? It's kind of a fence. What defines that? If I see through it, is that a fence? And if I can't see through it, is that a wall? It's everything that Superman looked at was a fence. So is that what defines that? We need a ruling on that. But El Paso, yeah. So people rest well there. That's a good thing.
The study says they really are sleepless in Seattle, one of the top insomniac cities in the nation. And a surprise, folks in New York City are well rested, in part because
there are yoga studios almost on every corner. There are meditation centers.
Yes, of course. There's all of those things. Yoga and meditation. Meditation's good. You should always close your eyes for 3, 4, 5 minutes a day and just breathe and relax. Sleepless in Seattle. How about all that coffee you guys have? That's probably why. There's a Starbucks everywhere there. And there's a Pete's Coffee and a bunch of individual ones. Yeah, that's probably why. That's absolutely probably why. And you figure they would sleep more, too, because it's always kind of dark and rainy there. You figure they just like, I'm so depressed. Speaking of coffee, within the next 10 years, some of the most craved, desired, and wanted coffee strains and beans will no longer exist because of deforestation and whatnot. And I think, is it Arabic? I don't even know. I don't drink coffee. I was reading it today, though. Is virtually gone. And it's going to be like trying to find gold. They're trying to do what they can to save these things. But not only is it deforestation, and it's also that they just harvest the hell out of them because people crave it so much. Yeah, coffee may not be around forever. Understand that, folks. Get that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I love this. Rand Paul doing a little capitalistic medical stuff. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I think he'll be arrested.
Do you think it's actually going to happen, though?
Yes, I certainly do. I believe in America, and I believe in our political system, and I believe we will right the wrong of the tyranny of Donald Trump.
What about one last thing? The wall. Do you think the wall ever happen?
No, it will never happen. He'll be arrested.
Oh, Danny DeVito. Oh, sorry. That was Rosie O'Donnell. He's not going to be arrested. I really would be really surprised. For all of the craziness, again, we've talked about it. There's a lot of it. Even what's going on, you got this whole thing with collusion, not collusion, and then even if there is something there, can you prove it to the point where he's going to be arrested? Because then there's that word collusion and the definition in itself, and there's just so much stuff. Last night, Giuliani, Chris Cuomo, they kind of got into it, talking about the C word.
Never said there was no collusion between the campaign or between people in the campaign.
Yes,
I have no idea if I have not. I said the President of the United States. There is not a single bit of evidence the President of the United States committed the only crime you could commit here, conspired with the Russians to hack the DNC.
Hack the DNC. Hack the DNC. Hack the. Is that what he did? Did he do that? Can you prove that? Because giving poll stuff that Manafort gave, a couple of the lawyers I've talked to said, yeah, that's not a crime. You're really, it's just, that's, again, reaching. You want it to be so, but that's not a crime.
Nobody colluded. The guy running his campaign,
he didn't say
was
nobody.
Working on an issue at the same time as the convention.
He said he didn't. He didn't say nobody. How would you know that nobody in your campaign?
He actually did say that, Rudy. He said nobody, and then he said, as far as I know.
He said it in a. Well, as far as he knows, that's true.
Yeah, plausible deniability. I didn't know. Wasn't me. Oh, they're not finished.
Is Manafort is viable at the head of the campaign when that's going on. Then he's viable at the head of the campaign, giving polling data that winds up having the same faces and places targeted by the campaign that are targeted by Russian trolls. How is that not collusion?
No, it's not collusion.
How is it not?
Well, because polling data is given to everybody. I mean, you shouldn't have given it to them. It's wrong to give it to them.
It's not given to everybody.
And I can't speak for Paul Manafort. Of course it is. First of all, the most inappropriate, the most inaccurate stuff is internal polling data. All of it is cooked.
All of it is cooked because you want to tell the person what they want to hear. So getting polling data, is that really a crime? Well, Chad, he knew Russians. He knew a lot of things. Look, I'm sure that Trump probably knew that they were speaking with people, probably a lot of people. I asked somebody last night, I said, Let me ask you this. I've asked this before. If it was anybody but Russia, would you care? If it was Canada and he was speaking with some Canadians who had information, if it was India, if it was Australia, if they were British, if they were German, if they were Dutch, not the Dutch, would you go, But because it's Russia? Look, I don't know. I'm going to let this whole thing play itself out. I've said that all along. If Trump's done something wrong here, people inside his campaign, back when he was campaigning, which he's always never not campaigning, but if they've done wrong and they've conspired to hack in to the DNC, to expose a bunch of things, to steal our election and potentially try to change votes, if all of those things are to be true and he colluded with them in a way, not just to find out information like they got dirty stuff, trust me, if a Russian came to Hillary, if Xi Jinping called Hillary and told her 3 weeks before the election, I got stuff on Trump, you want it? She'd have said, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Do you think the media would be, if they would have found that out, would be doing the same thing? Probably not. I'm going to let it play itself out. Whatever happens, happens. Right? I'm open-minded enough to know that this thing is going to play itself out, and I trust Mueller. And then in his investigation, even though at first there were people around him that definitely weren't fans of Trump, they're gone now. How much of this thing is being redone? But I trust that, hey, whatever comes out of there, there it is. There it is.
I would say to the leader very simply, you may disagree with us. Open the government. Open the government. You can do it, Leader McConnell. And all your blaming and flailing isn't going to open the government. We all know Donald Trump is the obstacle here. You know it. I know it. We all know it.
But he's not going to open the government. He's not. He's not. And you're going to have this tit for tat kind of battle that's going on now. Of course, you got Pelosi with the shutdown. We shouldn't be doing a shutdown at all. I mean, but seeing as we are, we shouldn't then have a State of the Union. And I guess Trump a little while ago says, yeah, Pelosi is supposed to go on this trip overseas, but she can't have, any of the military planes that were going to take her and the group that was going there. So this is what we're getting, and it's a joke. We need business handled, and it sucks. People are definitely feeling it, and it's just not a way to do business or politics.
I don't think there is a strategy by either President Trump or Mrs. Pelosi. I hitched a ride back from New Orleans to D.C. with the president on Monday. Talked with him, I don't know, an hour or so. I don't think he's budging. I don't think Mrs. Pelosi's budging.
Yeah, no. So right now we've got nothing. Right? It's like trying to reason with rocks. Nothing is going to happen. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So Rand Paul, I like Rand Paul. I wish he could have been a little bit more showy, if you will. He's too level-headed at times, and you've got to realize, look, you got to give the audience sometimes what they want. And he didn't do better in the debates, even though he made sense. I do like Rand Paul. I'm maybe not as, on everything, but I do believe that when I look at somebody and say, out of everybody in politics, who do you kind of see eye to eye with the most? He and Kasich, I like both of them. He's going to Canada, and he's getting hammered for it because he's going to have surgery, and this comes, this is coming because of the fact that he was attacked by his neighbor, and he's got a hernia operation, and he's going to Canada to have surgery. And of course, everybody's taking, swipes at him because he's for free markets. Oh, you're going up there to have surgery. How dare you go up there to have surgery? There, it's this kind of socialized medicine, and this is blah, blah. Well, he's going up there, and he's paying cash, by the way. For those of you not keeping score, he's paying cash. It's about 5 G's. the hospital that he's going to takes cash. They're the best in the world at what they do for this special hernia operation. It's a private, well-renowned, world-renowned hospital. And they take money. There you go. They take money. And people are on him about it. But he's like, I'm picking the best place at the best price to do what I want, and I'm paying cash for it. That's what it's all about. The fact that they may get money from the... I've always said this about socialized medicine. Here's the problem. People always say, oh, Chad, you don't like it. The service isn't great. Doesn't mean that the healthcare providers aren't good. Right? Some of them aren't great. Right? Like the VA, we always talk about how bad the VA hospital is. Doesn't mean the people who treat the patients are bad. It means the system around it causes there to be issues. But he's just taking money and saying, I'm going to go here. I think there's a new bill that's out there, and some states are already starting to implement it, where they're going to have to post on their website and I guess at the door almost a menu of what things cost. But apparently it's so convoluted that you literally need to be a doctor or an insurance adjuster to understand any of the stuff in there. I'm all about paying cash. I got no problem with that. The way we used to do it back in the day. We can't do that now for whatever reason. Too many people feeding at the trough. But people are getting on him about it. Oh, my God, he's going up there. He's not getting it for free. My nephew, my little brother, he's adopted, so he's my little brother now. He went to Canada last year, and because he was playing AAA hockey, the highest level you could play before you become a junior and or go college or pros. So he was up there for a camp for a week or so and a tournament. And being idiots, as 17-year-old boys will be, one of his buddies threw a rock and hit him in the head and cut him up really bad. And this is a hockey player, for God's sake. So, they're always used to being cut. So they took him to a hospital, right? It's Canada, right? It's like it'll be free medical care. They told my mom, this is $3,800 for us to stitch him up. And they were across the way from Detroit. And my mother's got insurance, but they wouldn't take her insurance. So he goes across the way to Detroit. This is what's crazy. He says, first of all, it's Detroit. He says the hospital has police and metal detectors. He goes inside. He says, I got a cut. They take him to the back. They never ask his name. He's with one of his coaches. He gets sewn up. It's like 16 stitches. They said, you're free to go. They said, what do you owe you? He goes, your best bet is just to leave. Nice. Solid. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. My Pillow. I brought my Go Anywhere pillow with me. I'm going to get up extra early tomorrow, go work out. I'm staying in town as I do a little traveling here. And I'm going to sleep great tonight. I am. I'm going to sleep great. Because of my MyPillow. Sounds weird. Yeah, you have no idea what kind of difference. Because how many of you out there, right, you have got your pillows and you've got 5 or 6 of them and you're just trying to get comfortable and you got that one pillow and you squeeze it and you turn your you're not going to have to do that anymore with MyPillow. You're not. And with sleep the way it is and how much sleeplessness we have out there, 2019's here. Make a small change. It will go a long way to affect the overall health and mental well-being of you, and that is MyPillow and sleeping better. 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, 10-year warranty. You got nothing to lose right now. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping, and a money-back guarantee till March 1st. A deal like this you will not find anywhere else. Call 800-944-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. It's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-944-4975. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your body, your wellness, your sleep. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
States? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
President Trump has written a letter to Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi telling her that her upcoming international trip to Afghanistan, Brussels, and Egypt has been postponed, suggesting that she should remain in Washington negotiating border security with him instead. The president's letter follows a letter yesterday from Pelosi suggesting that he would be wise to reschedule his State of the Union address until after the government has reopened. But unlike the State of the Union, this trip was not public.
Oh. It's the fight. It's the battle that's going to go on. Well, you take that away, and I'll take this away. And if you take that away, I'll take this away. And if you do that, then I'll do... Childish. Childish. I can't wait till the aliens get here and just go, do you guys know that basically this is a giant aquarium? Do you understand that? Now start acting like the pets that you are.
This is one of the incidents the Pentagon's secretive group of UFO hunters investigated.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh.
This object appeared off the California coast in 2004 and baffled two Navy pilots.
It's not a drone. It's not something that we can easily say, oh, that's an airplane. Or
Luis Elizondo ran the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program at the Defense Department. He believes the way that school bus-sized object moved defied the known laws of physics.
What we are looking at is truly beyond next-generation technologies.
Yeah. It's because our masters do that for us, right? They give us a little bit, but then they see us act like this, and they're like, we're not going to give you guys anymore. You guys can't even open up your government.
Former Nevada Senator Harry Reid championed the UFO program, and some of the funding reportedly went to one of his donors, Robert Bigelow, founder of the military contractor Bigelow Aerospace. The Las Vegas tycoon spoke with 60 Minutes.
Do you imagine that in our space travels we will encounter other forms of intelligent life?
You don't have to go anywhere.
You can find it here.
Yeah.
Where exactly?
It's just like right under people's noses.
Ooh. What does that mean? Under our nose? That means they're here already. Alex Jones was right. It's lizard people.
Unlike in the movies, most UFOs don't turn out to be alien spacecraft. This green fireball above Buenos Aires in 2015 was likely a meteor, while this strange light over Los Angeles was actually a missile test.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work operating in areas that we can't control.
Yeah. But there are things out there we just don't know. We may be a test, right? You talk to other physicists and scientists, and they say, you know what? This may be another dimension. There could be hundreds of these, right? There could be hundreds. There's another dimension out there potentially where Hillary won. What? Yeah. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Day 27 of the shutdown. So they bring all the people on who are in the midst of the shutdown. And CNN right now has somebody who... Now, Producer Phil, if you're going to go on television, are you wearing your Super Bowl jersey from a few years ago for your television appearance? Or maybe you dress up a little bit better than that?
I would dress a little bit better, I would think.
Yeah. It'd be fine if you actually won the Super Bowl, but just being a fan, maybe they told her, no, put this on. We don't want you to look like you're put together. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We've got a Twitter poll today. Twitter poll. What's your guess on the length of how long the shutdown will last? 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, or 90 days plus? 20% of you say 30 days. That's a few days away from now. 34% say 45 days. I'm at 42 and a half. It's kind of about where I'm at. So over-under is 42 and a half. 60 days is 16%, and 90 days plus is 30% of the people out there. So we shall see if this thing is going to last any longer. And the lasting effect, I don't think it would really, I just don't think there's going to be a lasting effect come, time to vote. Because there's going to be so much between now and then of chaos and craziness that this will be a blip. This will be a blip. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All right. Your useless fact of the day. 1994. The Air Force put together a 3-page report on a gay bomb, which they said would use pheromones to make enemies fall in love and be attracted to each other immediately. It didn't go anywhere. Just letting you guys know that. Have a good rest of your day. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.